have used, okay, if you have used this Research4Life, there are times you have problems. So we'll briefly talk about troubleshooting and where Research4Life support is. Okay, so very quickly, because we had a slow start here. Let me see. There we go. My face is in the picture better now. Simple search, a quick first step for online resources. It could be in Google Scholar or University Libraries Catalog or even Wikipedia. Systematic search is more comprehensive for a more specific research project to identify, select, and synthesize all research published on a particular question or topic. Okay, again, following a thread or snowballing is the references are listed in the publications and it leads you to other resources. You read the bibliography of an article that is really on your topic and you see other resources that are very useful to build up your literature search before you do the research. Okay, here's just a little 10-step scenario that helps you organize what you're doing. And it helps to start a little bit in advance. State your topic, ask your questions. Are they too broad? Are they too narrow? Define your information need. For example, if you're doing a lecture on dengue fever, you could just go to Google it, and get information, say, from the World Health Organization or the Centers for Disease Control in the US, and that would be enough for the background. But if you're looking at, say, the transmission and prevention of the dengue fever, then you would have to go to the more sophisticated databases. Identifying the concepts, ask your questions, select your search terms. Many of you have done a search and you only got 3 results, so you have to make it broader. Many of you have done a search and had 20,000 results and say, oh, this is too wide, I have to narrow it. Select your sources that are appropriate for the level of information you want. Do your search, revise your search, manage your results, retrieve your full text, hopefully put your citations in a reference management software, and then evaluate, see how successful you did this. So those are just some brief tools. I want to talk a little about phrase and proximity searching using the quotes or the parentheses. Means that you have to search for an exact phrase, and we will do this later on. You see how crop plantation quotes. The asterisk or the $sign allows you to search for alternate spellings. Child will give you childs or children, etc. You can also use a question mark and substitute it in the middle of a word to get, truncation wildcards is the first one, which gives you broader than just child. You get childs or children, and then the question mark for women. Woman gives you woman and women, and this is very useful where there's a difference between English spelling from the US and Britain, like gynecology. Okay, let's go on. Very briefly, please, if I'm talking too fast, send a message to the chat and they will alert me. Okay. Here we are in the first page of Hanari, and please remember all 5 will look the same. Basic access points to Research4Life resources are journals and collection and books collection, okay? Language, publisher is hidden behind what is displaying on my screen anyway, and there it is. And also reference sources and databases for discovery and links to free collections. I always call them underutilized resources because people just basically want to search for journal articles, so this can kind of get lost. These are the resources over here on the right. Notice the summon search box, because we're going to talk about that now, okay? Let me just go over a subject search. There are a couple key reminders I want to pad so that when you search in Summon, you're aware of some of the options. Okay. If you click on subject, you can browse by a subject. We have checked infectious diseases, and you can see there are 30 journals and 86 books in the type on the right, and you can show all of them at once if you choose to by clicking on 500 or all. The default is the all items option, so you see the green box, and that means you have logged in properly and you have access to the full text. Now, another way of knowing if you have access to a journal is to go to the publisher's list. And you'll see I have logged in from a university in Ethiopia, okay? Because you see you have full text access to, and there's a long list of journals. And several publishers have chosen not to grant access in your country. And you can see this right away in the publisher list. You do not have access to, and in this case, it's Brill, Elsevier, John Wiley, Sage Books, John Wiley Books, and Springer Nature. Okay, so where this is valuable is in Summon, because it will not grant you access to the journals. It will not list the journal articles from these publishers. So again, we're in Ethiopia, and we have gone to click on Karger, which is one of the publishers. And you can see we have opened it up, and there's the accessible content list, and Acta Cytologica is the first journal listed. Now, we have gone to one of the publishers that does not grant access, Springer Nature. We have clicked on all items, and in this case, you see the gray box with that symbol with the exclamation point. So that means you do not have access. So there are really basically these two tools that can be used to see what publishers have granted and not granted. Okay. Content offered by publisher lists. This is another complicated list. You go to the eligibility page on the bottom of any of the programs, bottom of Hinari. You click on Hinari. You select the country. I've selected Ethiopia. I've selected an institution or category, university, faculty, and it will again list all the publishers you get. And there is a little note that says you have 7,331 subscription-based journals, and that you have 34,000 fee-based books that you should have access to. So there is this way, or to go from the publisher's list on the content page, the home page. So let's go on to why we're here today. And I see my time is okay. If we go over a few minutes, that's fine with me. Both Summon and Google Scholar from Research4Life search across all the programs. As of July 2020, Summon automatically, if you log in from Ethiopia, it knows you're in Ethiopia. It knows what publishers have granted access and have not granted access, and this will show up in the search results of a Summon search within any of the 5 programs, and also when you use Research4Life Google Scholar. Okay, so it automatically maps to what you get. It says offers defined by publishers where they identify which countries they have granted access to their resources. Okay, just hope I'm not going too fast. Summon is a Google-like Scholar search engine that provides fast and relevance ranking. It's basically a keyword, just like Google is, although they try to rank the priority of usage and how it links to the terms you have used. Enter search terms in single box. The results are displayed with links to the full text. Searches can be refined by content type, discipline, publication date, and citations can be saved by email, print, or export. So let me go back here one thing. Here's the search box that you will use for searching in Summon, okay? So This is to show that you get the same results. It does not matter which program you are in. Okay? So here we are doing a search, solar panels and developing countries. Note, I use the quotes to make it the search more precise. There's 2,289 results from GOLI, which is legal information, the legal information portal, and solar panels has very little to do with legal information. I also did it in the environmental research database, AWARI, and I got the same number of results. Okay, 2,289 results, sorted by relevance. All right. Why do I have it? Oh, this is a different search. Okay, now we're going back to hospital infections in developing countries. I guess my bias is that I have done more Hinari training than the others, so I'm pretty comfortable in it. So we use the quotes again, and we come up with 1,793 articles. Note, there's a box, journal article, full text. You can click on that. Below that, there's P-review. Below, next to preview is the PDF. So you can automatically go to the full text. There is one option, add results beyond your library's collection, and that will give you additional results, although the link to the full text will not be there. So I'm sorry. Let me go on to the next one. Again, publishers grant access, choose to grant access in countries. We encourage them to be as broad as possible, but that does not always work. And we keep reminding them of their need to make the material available in all the countries. I've done the same search in Bhutan, which is a poor landlocked country near India and China and Nepal, and has very few publishers not granting access. So you get 1,280 results sorted by relevance. Then I did this in a group B country, Morocco, and you see hospital infections in developing countries, 884 results. But why this is so valuable is you will get in your results what you have access to in your country, even though it can be disappointing that you don't have some of the publishers granting access. Here's your preview page, and it allows you to read a summary of it and get all the bibliographic information. And it's always, of course, useful to read this before you open the full text and download it. It also notes where it has been cited. Okay. Once you complete a search, there is a series of boxes on the top right of each search. We are going to save 6 items, okay? By clicking on this little box for 6 different citations in the search, hospital infections in developing countries. Okay, now we have opened the box and it says 6 saved items. It also says you can clear them. You have 3 options. You can export it to 6 different bibliographic management softwares. You can print it and you can email it. Okay, so here we are going to export it. And fortunately, I use Zotero, and it's one of the options. So we will click export to. It will tell you to click on I'm not a robot. It will send, and it'll send you a file that can be loaded into a collection in Zotero. If we have time during the searches, we could add this. Okay. The print and email options are pretty routine. You click on email, put an email address in if you want to send it to a colleague, and you go ahead and send it. And here I decided to print all 6 citations to the printer that's attached to this computer. This is pretty routine. There's also an advanced search option which allows you to, I failed to talk about one thing. Let me go back. Sorry. See content type. In the left column, refine your search, full text online, scholarly peer-reviewed journals. Content type, you can limit it to journal articles. You could only look at the book chapters if you choose. So there are some options to refine the search, including a date option, which is not displayed here. So let me scroll back where we were. And again, in the advanced search option, you can limit to publication dates, either putting them in individually or last 12 months, 3 years, 5 months. Content type, discipline can be used, limit to items with full text, limit to scholarly material. So you can complete your search and put your filters on by using the advanced search option. Okay, now we are going to go from here, and let's see if this works. We are going to, I think I'm logged in already. I'm at the Research4Life portal. Okay, I have logged in. I've actually had to use a password from one of the countries because Google Scholar links with Summon do not work with my trainer password. So several of you sent in suggestions, and I have about 8 of them. And the first one we're going to look at is COVID-19 and gender. Now, we could do this in health or any of them, and you're going to get the same results. Okay, so I'm going to type in COVID-19 and gender. Okay, so let's see what kind of search results we get for this.
Lenny, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we can still see your presentation. If you're trying to share the other
I have to close the presentation, right? I am sorry about, okay, now. Not so easy. Yes, here we are. I can go back to it later. Okay, I have to close this, right?
Probably, yes.
That's not. Okay, so thank you for telling me that. Now I'm going to. Okay, now let me go back to where I want to be. Is this showing?
Yeah, we can see your camera, but if you share now, we'll probably.
Okay, I have to go back to here. And now I have to go back to share screen. And now we're going to this. Here's where I need to be. Yes. Okay. So,
perfect.
All right. So the first search I did that was suggested is COVID-19 and gender. And you can see there are 904 results by relevance. On the left column, you can see there are already 834 articles and even some material in books. And we could limit it to the last month if we chose. So let me see if I can scroll down a little. And here are your options: discipline, subject, terms, language. So you can, now I have to move this and scroll up. Okay, so you have those options there. Let us kind of look at this. First of all, we're going to add, I want to show you, you have your journal article, full text online. If I click on it, it goes to the 360 link, and if I, which is from Research4Life, and then we click on the article full text, and there we are. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the results now and close these. Again, we have our preview, which is now displayed. Okay, and so on. All right, you can also reconfigure your search and go to date and newest. Okay, so we have done that. Just for an example, I want to click on add results. Okay, everybody following me, I hope, now that the screen is right. So the first article here is in full text. Second is one that's added. You can get the citation. Okay. And this comes up too. If you click on this, you can't click on it. It says, sorry, no holdings were found for this journal. That's what happens for the ones you have added by going outside of what summons says you are eligible to open in your country. Okay, let me close this. Let us go on to another search. Okay. Someone asked about COVID-19. We'll stay with COVID-19 and nursing simulation. Okay, so I put that in and I'm searching it. And there are 1,700 articles according to this. Okay, but we are still add results beyond your collection. So I have to undo that. And now we have 73 results. If we take out the word nursing, our results will go up. Okay? Simulation during COVID-19 pandemic, improving stroke and times, pandemic through, but this goes beyond nursing. Okay? There's an interesting, I'll do one more search. Okay, maybe one or two more. I have an interesting search here. Impact of online training on rural students. Ooh. So let's see what kind of results we get for this. 31,000 results. Okay, so I'm going to try something else. I'm going to make it that the words have to be linked by putting my, okay, my quotes in there. So we go from 31,000 down to 542. Now, we're going to change this to and universities, because this is something that is going on all over the world. Impact of online training. I'm sorry, it should have been online learning. I made a mistake here. That makes more sense, doesn't it? Okay, so we have 11,000 between online learning and universities. So then again, you could refine it more, but there would be a lot of material. We could limit it to journal articles. Again, the full text link is right there. I think I have more, but and they're more complicated searches. I think I'm going to save them for Scholar. Okay, so now I have to now go and share something else if this works correctly. I'm going to my PowerPoint and I want to, do I have to get, is this showing or I have to go back and showing on my screen?
We can see the screen, not the PowerPoint.
Okay, so I'm in good shape now. Thank you for confirming that. So we have done several searches in Summon and shown you some of the features. But again, the key thing is that it links to what you have access to and the full text works. It should work. Scholar, much broader. Broad searches for scholarly literature, includes referee, journal articles, and much more. Articles, theses, books, abstracts, professional societies, repositories, etc. Again, it uses the relevance ranking with the year and date options, plus brief abstracts with links to full text. But I'm sure some of you have tried the full text links and they work, and some of them they ask you for money. Okay, for journals and citations, contain the links to full text from Research4Life publishers who have granted access in your country, plus commercial publishers, open access articles, pre-publication documents. The key here is that you are signed in to Scholar from Research4Life. So let me talk about that. Okay, here we are. We have opened up the Agora page. We've clicked on databases for discovery. We have clicked on Google Scholar. And in Google Scholar, for our example, we will use water pollution and pesticides as our search. And the water pollution is in quotes. Okay, so we move to do the search.
The PowerPoint is not seen, sir.
Excuse me, no PowerPoint?
No, we can still see the screen.
No
not the
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Now, let me go up here and how should I do this? You are screen sharing. And I want to, so, okay, let me go back. I'm lost. You are screen sharing, it should be here. Now, you're still seeing this? The results?
Yes.
Okay, so I can close that. Now you're seeing this. Now I have to new share, new share. Ah, here we are, new share. Okay. Okay.
You can see the PowerPoint now.
Yes, where we need to be, right? So I'll quickly go through then. Sorry, you should have told me quicker, but we're okay now. From current slide, right? All right, so we have done this searching. So then I was talking about Scholar and how it has articles, books, theses from academic publishers, professional societies, relevancy ranking, have access. You must log in from one of the 5 programs and access Scholar from one of the portals. Okay, everybody now sees Agora, correct? The Agora content page.
Yes.
We click on databases for discovery. We click on Google Scholar. We go to quotes. We put a search in Google Scholar, water pollution and pesticides, okay? Here are the results. This is where we were. 141,000 citations ranked by relevance ranking. Note in the top bar, the URL, the address says login.research4life.org and then a long tag. So that means you are linked through Research for Life and someone is pulling out what you have access to. Let me slide myself out of the way a little. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I want to go back one. Okay. You can see there are some filters, but not a radical number of them. Anytime since 2020, 1916, custom range. You sort by relevance and sort by date. Pay attention to the create alert at the bottom of that list in the left column. And then you now see links from Research for Life publishers, and it says Research for Life full text. And if I click on that, I would go to the 360 link, Research for Life 360 link, which is again running through Summon, and you click on the article full text. And in this case, the article is, the title is listed below and you can download it. So this is just to demonstrate what we actually did in Summon 2 using the 360 link. Very interesting. There are some useful tools in Google Scholar. Okay, you click on those 3 horizontal bars and this comes up. My profile, my library, alerts, metrics, advanced search, and settings. If you have Gmail, you may or may not have a Google account. Here is how you set up a Google account. You either copy that URL or do a Google search for Google, create account, and it will give you the instructions to set this up. Okay, what we are going to do now is look at some of these options. For each citation, there will be a little star. If you have a library set up and you have an account in a library set up, you can create a file for water pollution and pesticides. And when you click on the star, the citations go there so that you can look at them again, okay? I forgot to mention that it lists where the article's been cited and different versions for each of the ones, each article that is brought up in the search results. So that's the first thing to look at. You can save the results that way by clicking on the star and putting them in a collection in your library. Another useful option, and you don't need to be having a My Library account in Scholar, in Google, you click on Create Alert, and then you will start receiving emails. You put in your search, water pollution and pesticides, put in the email address, and you click on Create Alert, and you can show up to 20 results, 10 or 20, and it will send you alerts regularly. So let's say you're doing a research project. This is very useful to find out new material as it's published, or you're doing a literature search for a thesis. Again, you have more tools this way. Okay, this is really a little complicated, and I know my colleague Kathy, who's the expert on it, is listening. Scholar also has metrics, which ranks, this is the top publications, but it ranks them by categories. Okay, and it has two indexes, and I will talk a little about this. So what this is saying here is Nature publication, Nature, the journal, has an H5 index of 368 and a medium of 546. Now, this has nothing to do with the search, but I thought I would like to at least explain it so you can see what journals are used the most. So what are H5 index and H5 median mean? The best way for me to explain this is, if you have an index, H5 index of 60, it means that journal has published 60 articles in the previous 5 years that have 60 or more citations each. Okay? H5 medium is based on this index, but it's the middle score. So a journal of an H5 index of 65 may have an H5 medium of 75, which means of the 60 articles with 60 more citations, the middle score is 75. So if you go back here, you see that Nature in 5 years has 368 articles that have been cited 368 times, and the middle score was, the middle number was 546 citations. Okay, so okay, at this point, I want to talk about troubleshooting, and then we're going to go do some searches in a few minutes in Google Scholar, as long as I can get Hanari back up, Research4Life back up. Sometimes when, especially if you're in something like Scholar, even from Research4Life, you click and it says, no, you have to pay. No, you can only see the abstract. First, check if there's a block pop-up message that needs to be resolved. Publisher requests individual login or for you to pay. Check that the logon, the Research4Life login has been properly done. Then you can go to the publisher and see if this is being granted access in your country, in your institution. So again, we could go back to the publisher's list and look up the publisher and see if you're granted access to that journal, or you could go to the journal, or if it's a book collection, A to Z list, and also look at it that way. Okay, If available by either of these options, let's say you went to Research for Life Scholar and it says you have to pay, and you go to the journal collection list and the journal is green and you can open it up, you can get the article or book that way and open the full text. If the user is logged in and the institution has access to a specific title, but it does not work, this confirms you have done everything right and there is a technical problem at the publisher's end. Report this problem to the Research4Life or R4L at research4life.org, the help desk. Okay, when you write the help desk, it really helps if you follow the little checklist here. What is your institution's name and country? What is your username and password? Does your institution use IP address access to Research4Life? If this applies, they need to know that. Are you able to log in, or do you get a failure to authenticate message? Are you having problems accessing all content or a specific journal or book? If you're having a problem with a specific title, please write down the name of the journal and book. And if you can do a screenshot, including the web address, the URL, that would be very helpful. Now, this means that the Research4Life help desk will check on the problem. And it's frustrating, I know, when you don't get access, but at least this gives you some options. So let me go on and briefly introduce what we're doing July 22nd, and then I will be out of the program, out of the presentation, and we will go back, okay? 22 July 2020, my colleague, Kathy Kwan, who is a retired staff scientist from the US National Library of Medicine, will be talking about PubMed. Because as of May 2020, there is a new version. PubMed is primarily health-related database, but there are times that searches in related topics can give you interesting results. Like you could look up water pollution and pesticides and you'll get some interesting articles on it. The webinar will be live demonstration highlighting new version with emphasis on the features that will be most useful to you and those in developing countries. So let me go on. Topics. What is in PubMed? Overview of search and search results, search interface. Again, how to get to the full text provided by Research4Life. Then search with a purpose. Author affiliation, features using systematic reviews, how to search beyond the health sciences, and then a little discussion of my NCBI and how to personalize it. And that my NCBI allows you to get alerts, email alerts, and then a little about how advanced features like automatic term mapping and medical subject headings. So this will be the 22nd of July, and we will remind you, and we'll have a lot of publicity on it. Uh-oh, somebody wrote on the screen, and now this is displaying. Hopefully I can leave this, close this. Screen sharing has stopped. Now I can go back to this, and I am looking to go to close this. And I think this will get me share. This will get me back to, yes, now we're back in where I can go in and do searches. Okay, and we're logged in and we have the 5 portals. Is this displaying correctly?
Yes, we can see the screen.
Okay, we've done much. I've had my learning moment for today, and we'll go over a few minutes because I would like to do some searches in this. Random, completely random. We are going to Goalie, and we're going to go to databases, And we are going to open up Google Scholar. See, there are all these legal information databases. Okay. So again, if you look up in the URL box, the address box, you see we're logged in from Research4Life. I have some complicated searches, which are in Summon did not give me huge results. So we're going to use them here. And start with recovery of Chromium ferrochrome slags. Ooh. Recovery of chromium from ferrochrome slags. Don't ask me what this is about, but we'll see what we get in Research4Life Google Scholar. Okay? So we have 2,500 results for this very precise search. And right away on the right, we have links to Research4Life full text. If I scroll down a little further, we may have, oh, I have to get this out. Okay, there I am again. And then you see one from Research4Life, ResearchGate. We see one that comes from an organization in South Africa, so proceedings from a meeting. And again, we see all these Research4Life links. So let us go to the first one. And we have gone to the 360 link. This case, it's in Science Direct. So first you have to click on Science Direct, get authorization, and this goes, and then you go back to the link and you click on the full text. Okay, so this is, and here's our article, and we can get down to the PDF level. So this again, where's my search results? Nope. Back. Here we are. Here are our search results. Okay. As you can see, we can click on the stars. This works. Here we go. And this is saved to my library. I click on my library, they should be there now. Okay. Here are the, see, I'm in my library and recover, and here are the ones that I clicked on, and some from previously. Okay, we will go back as long as I can figure out how to do that. Okay, so let's click on one. I want to do one thing with this search. Just out of curiosity, let's see if we take recovery of out. Because as I said, this was a pretty precise search. Okay, we're changing the search. And that gave us another 1,500 citations. Okay. Shall I proceed on? Oh, I didn't want to do that. Stay on the side.
Once again, Lenny, sorry, if you're writing somewhere, we can't see that.
Cannot see it?
No, we see the chromium from ferrochrome slag.
Well, that's where I was writing. So far, we're good. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to put in a new search. The search box is blank, right?
Yes.
Okay. This is really was an interesting one too, because it's pretty obscure. Adoption. I hope there are some people from agriculture here of orange fleshed sweet potato in EBONYI state. I have a typo, I will correct that. So this is someone wanting to know about ORA, is that right? Orange fleshed sweet potatoes in a specific state of Nigeria. Okay, so let's see what kind of results. 34. So what's the next thing I would do? I would change it to and Nigeria. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Now we have 1100, but we have some, see, case of orange flesh sweet potato in Ghana and Nigeria. Okay. Okay. But for some reason, we have lost the links in the right column to the Research4Life. Oh, I bet I know what I did. I bet I'm searching in non-Research4Life Google Scholar. So I'm going to copy my search very quickly. Copy. I'm going to go back to programs. I'm going to go back to Hanari. I'm going to go back to reference sources. Yes, roll in. No, it's not in reference. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Databases for discovery. Google Scholar. Okay, so now we know we're back in Research4Life Google Scholar. I'm going to put that same search in. Okay? You see, now we have on the right column the Research4Life full text links. So in my mistake here, you see what happens if you're not logged into Scholar from Research4Life. I wanted to do maybe one more search, okay? How about land use and developing countries? I'm just trying to be broader than just doing health here. So we're going to put in land use and developing country. Let me put quotes on that. Okay, huge amount of results. Again, in the right column is the links to the Research4Life, and I'm sure there are some that are linked elsewhere. Free from publisher, okay? So, but if you click on some of these, you would not get the full text. They would ask you for money. But these should work that say Research4Life. Okay, we had a search impact of online learning and universities. And I would like to quickly do that one, and then we will call it a day. So we're going to go impact of online learning and universities. We are in Google online. I could type, there we go. Okay, we did the search before in Summon itself. And here are 133,000 entries. Let's add and develop. Okay. So now we have 19,000, but it may be more germane for the environment. Okay. Let's see. Here's some Research4Life links. But look at this one. It's edu.government. So that, let's see if we can get access to, yep, here we are, the full text for this. and it was from the South African Institute for Distance Learning. So I think this would be very relevant. Again, just remember, the key is that and you can see in the box, log in research4life.org. So that's why I'm getting these links. And if I go back to the top and click on this, you have those other features, although the alert feature is always there. Okay, so I click on create alert. Here's my search. I didn't mean to do that. If I put my email address in here, okay, I would get an alert. I think this is a good point to stop. I encourage, maybe we can have a couple questions if I leave this and we go to the chat, correct? If I unshare my screen, stop sharing. Okay. Okay. I hope some of the examples were useful to you because I was going inside and outside of health, and we did one on chromium ferrochrome slags and orange flesh sweet potatoes, and we did one on an education question. I think what we're trying to show is if you use Summon and look in what's available in Research4Life, and if you use Research4Life, Google Scholar, so that you can get the links back to what you're granted access in your country, you can do a fairly comprehensive search on any subject. It doesn't have to be a health one. It doesn't have to be a law one. It doesn't have to be an agriculture one. So I think that's my last point. And remember, if you fail and don't have access, go through that process and write to the help desk, because I know it's very frustrating, but if you've done everything right, they will solve the problem. Do we have time for a question or two? Or I know I'm at 9:07, so my time, so I think we're done for the day. Thank you all for coming and joining me this morning. Thank you very much to Ms. Yana for the technical help. And
Lenny, if I can just say, I have put a link in the chat for everyone to the webinars page on the Research4Life website, where you can find the recording of this webinar and a few others that can be useful.
Okay. It's in the chat?
Yes, it's in the chat.
Would you want to display this?
Yes, I can very quickly share my screen.
Okay. Everybody stay with us. We'll show you where the material will be.
Here, you can see.
Okay.
This is my screen, research4life.org/training/webinars. And this is a new page where you will have the information about the new webinars that we're organizing. And you also have webinar recordings. We have 3 right now: Dimensions, Embase, and Kabi. And this webinar will also be posted here. So research4life.org training webinars, it's here.
Yeah. Will the presentation and the recording and the presentation are displayed, or just the recording?
We can also display the presentation for everyone to have, no problem.
Yeah, okay. I think that might be useful. Okay, thank you very much. I hope some of you learned some, I know many of you are, what shall we call it, experienced Research4Life users, but if you picked up 2 or 3 things today, it was worth your time, because it'll make you more efficient. When you teach others, you'll know how to focus on what really can get them keyword results using either Summon within Research4Life or Google Scholar within Research4Life. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Yes.
Stay safe, everybody.
All right,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Bye.
Goodbye to
Bye.
the people
Wait for
I
the
know and
recording.
people I don't know.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.